We all agreed that Linda Gray was a fantastic actress who brilliantly played Dallas's Sue Ellen Ewing. Her portrayal of Larry Hagman's patient wife was amazing. Surprisingly, she despised method acting, something none of us had a clue about. I want to know what transpired to her and the struggles she endured. Prepare to be amazed by Linda Gray, who is 84 years old today, and learn all about it in this movie. Perhaps you would all want to watch Linda Gray's transformation into the stunningly gorgeous Linda Gray before we get to the exciting portion of her life story. The fact that Linda came dangerously close to death as a child might pique your interest even more. Alright, then, let's go back to the first. Linda came into this world in Santa Monica, California on September 12, 1940. She may have gotten her start in the acting world in the sleepy little town of Culver City, which was home to several prominent studios. After Linda's father, Leslie Gray, passed away from polio just before she was born, his son, Linda, acquired the family watch repair business. While Linda's traditional mother instilled in her a strong work ethic and patience, Leslie made careful to inculcate similar traits in her daughter. These principles truly shaped Linda's identity. She had an underlying, repressed emotion, what was it, but she was also incredibly driven and grounded. Before long, you'll find out. Linda was an introverted child who found joy in helping out around the house and at her parents' watch shop. As a student at a Santa Monica Catholic school, Linda was an active member of the theater department. She was a natural actress even as a timid child, willing to play any part that came her way. Whether she was portraying the Virgin Mary or an arbitrary sunflower, her enthusiasm and desire to perform were unwavering. Being so close to Hollywood naturally made her dream of a grander ambition. She felt compelled to take action simply by observing the bustling streets and contemplating the lives of the people passing by. However, there were some challenges. Contrary to popular belief, she did not have a carefree childhood filled with love and affection. She had supportive parents and a lively neighborhood, but she had no idea that death was also on her side. She fell ill one day while going about her usual routine. Tragically, her parents mistook her fever for something more serious. After a few days of no improvement, her parents decided to take her to the doctor, and that's when they got the bad news. Just as it had taken Leslie's father, the illness had returned to hunt down his own child. Though Linda was infected with polio, the same disease that had killed her grandfather, her family remained hopeful. And miraculously, Linda was back to normal. She felt prepared to challenge the world at this point. All dreams do not come true, she learned the hard way. Plus, she was never going to be a successful actor. As a result, she made do with what she could provide. I don't doubt that she was stunning. Therefore, she started her career as a model in the 60s. She was well known for her unfiltered attractiveness and assured demeanor. Her incredible talent led to approximately 400 commercial appearances for major fashion, cosmetics, and brand names. While most individuals would be content with their lot in life, Linda was an incredibly driven and passionate individual. Because she was hungry for more, she decided to pursue acting, knowing full well that no one would dare turn down such a famous face. Her film career began in 1963 with supporting parts in Palm Springs Weekend and Under the Yum Tree, among others. It introduced her to the world of film. Once she realized she belonged in this industry, she relentlessly pursued more prominent jobs. After deciding to pursue acting full-time, Linda left the modeling industry entirely. She was content even if she couldn't land any big roles. She began appearing as a guest star on many TV shows in 1974, including Marcus Welby, Marilyn, McLeod, and Switch. These positions were only for a limited time, but Linda saw them as invaluable opportunities for growth. Every chance she got, she made the most of, demonstrating that her skill was more than skin deep. After much waiting, she finally got her heart's desire. As an artist, I want fame, fortune, and respect. When she received the chance to play the part that would alter the course of her life, everything became crystal obvious. Joining the cast of the 1978 TV show Dallas as Sue Ellen Ewing was a watershed moment in Linda's career. Sue Ellen's portrayal by Linda as a character caught between opulence and emotional collapse was famous. She had taken on the role of a tragic character who had a breakdown and developed terrible habits while playing the part. Because of her numerous relationships, the girl had a bizarre personality on top of battling with alcoholism and violent interactions with her spouse. Everyone couldn't understand her talent. Once we saw her private life, everything made sense, even though it didn't make sense at first. We can all agree that Sue was much closer to Linda than anyone had imagined. People loved her in the part. That was hardly an exaggeration. She was really brilliant in her job. As a result, she gained notoriety that hasn't faded since its heyday and was nominated for numerous awards. After Linda won the role of Sue Ellen, her life took a dramatic turn. It gave her the confidence she needed to overcome the ignorant opinions of others and start over as a formidable woman in a male-dominated field. Sue Ellen was a multifaceted and intricate character, and you must recognize this. JR, the show's antagonist, had a problematic wife named her I. M. Ewing. Heavy topics including alcoholism, deception, and betrayal were among those she had to confront. The character was brought to life by Linda, drawing others in with her melancholy, anger, and yearning for liberation. According to her, it felt as if she had discovered a previously unknown aspect of herself. It was an accomplishment and a struggle to play Sue Ellen. It was not made simpler by the public's misunderstandings or the role's emotional demands. It became widely believed, and unfortunately confirmed, that Linda was battling alcoholism. She became emotionally invested in the character of Sue to the point that she started abusing alcohol after playing the role. Regardless, she persisted in sharing a vital narrative of women ensnared in suffering and need. Not only did she receive an Emmy nomination for her performance, but she was also nominated for 2 Golden Globes and the Bambi Award in Germany and the second Gatto Award in Italy. But behind the scenes, she still had to cope with the pressures of society's expectations and her personal troubles, which is likely what drove her to portray Sue's fractured existence so convincingly. Her difficult marriage is the topic at hand, as you would have guessed. Whatever the case may be, she was too wise to limit herself to Dallas. She went on to amass an acting resume that was rather varied, beginning with bit parts in investigative dramas. Her breakthrough role, as Linda Merkland, occurred in 1977's All That Glitters. For diversity and representation in entertainment, Linda's moving and nuanced performance was a watershed moment. It was the first recurrent part for a transgender character on American television. Linda persevered in her pursuit of talent improvement despite the show's cancellation after only 13 weeks. Another obstacle had now emerged for her to overcome. The 1970s were a terrible time to be a woman because of that. We are all aware that there were numerous issues. The limited opportunities for women actors to exhibit their versatility were a result of being typecast into specific parts. The glaring light of Hollywood preconceptions threatened to engulf Linda unless she swiftly got past these. There were other things as well. Linda had poured her heart and soul into her jobs, yet she was grossly underpaid due to the enormous gender pay disparity. There were fewer prominent roles for women in 1970s Hollywood, particularly in male-dominated genres. The casting call for Linda, a strong, independent character originally conceived for a TV show, made this point very clear. But as filming continued, the producers and writers decided to change the character to conform to more conventional gender norms. Her character's adaptability and influence diminished. This shift occurred because the entertainment industry was unwilling to show strong, autonomous female characters. The prejudices persisted. Another challenge awaited her, and this one proved insurmountable. Her acting roles dried up as she grew older. She wasn't even in her 50s, you know. Her 30s were hardly over. She kept going, found her inner motivation, and set out on a mission to establish her value and maintain her profession. "Who will prove my competence if I don't?" That was something she said before. After reaching a dead end, she dove headfirst into other parts of show business, and Linda became a director as a result. She thought directing would be a surefire way to deliver a story, so that's what she did. She demonstrated to everyone that women can overcome obstacles and achieve mainstream success in the entertainment industry, whether it's through leadership roles or some other capacity. So, Linda didn't entirely give up acting after Dallas. Her daring performances in shows like Melrose Place and its spin-off Models Incorporated, as Hilary Michael, demonstrated her willingness to explore new territory. In fact, she appeared in the West End production of The Graduate as Mrs. Robinson. Her versatility was on full display in independent features such as Expecting Mary and Reflections of a Life. One thing that kept popping up in people's minds was a repeat. It was the emotionally charged characters she typically played that struck a chord with viewers. Looks like you've all been waiting for this moment. Here is where we spill the beans about how utterly ruined and compromised Linda's private life was. You won't believe how well she's doing at 84 years old after enduring a horrible midlife crisis. You should brace yourself, since this part is going to startle you more than once. Ed Thrasher was Linda Gray's first husband. They met in the early 1960s, when Linda was beginning her career as a commercial model. It was a fantastic match for Linda, who was 19 years old back then. There was a great deal of flirting on their initial meeting. After reviewing Linda's portfolio, Ed remarked, "I need to see your legs, in the flesh." An inch or so was raised at the waistline of Linda's verdant gown so that her knees were visible. However, she declined Ed's request to see her skirt from a higher angle, stating, "That's all you get." Anyhow, Ed found her funny and hired her. Linda was 21 years old and Ed was 28 years old when they were married in 1962. Their relationship flourished due to their mutual attraction. As luck would have it, Linda had a paradigm shift during their honeymoon in Mexico. Right from the first night, she knew she had made a mistake and that their marriage lacked love, and her body began to tremble as she regretted her choice. Linda felt trapped by social pressure and stayed with the marriage despite this realization. Their first child, Jeff Thrasher, was born in 1964, and in 1966, they were blessed with a daughter, Kaylee Sloan. Linda grew more and more dissatisfied with life as she realized she was merely executing Ed's fantasy instead of her own. Loveless and bordering on neighborly, she characterized her marriage. After the kids were older, Linda finally mustered up the courage to end the marriage. Linda made the decision to divorce in 1983. "I can't be married anymore," she told Ed. "All right, then, get down to the business of it." After the divorce, which was amicable, Linda relocated to a Malibu rental house to figure out her next steps. She still considers him a terrific instructor, even after going through that horrific ordeal. Their connection was significant to both of their lives, yet it lacked passion. On the same day that Barry became 24 years old, September 1, 1970, he and Linda exchanged wedding vows. In Caxton Hall, London, they exchanged vows in a vibrant ceremony. Stephen Thaddeus Crompton Gibb was born to them after a long and fruitful marriage. Around the year December 1, 1973. Unfortunately, they were no different from any other couple. They had their share of problems and highs in their relationship. People were accusing Linda of being a homewrecker when Barry wed her in July 1970, barely 2 months after his divorce from Maureen Bates. They made the decision to disregard the rumors and confront the difficulties as a team. After all these years, do you believe they remained a couple? I think that's correct. However, we are aware that you have detected an issue. The year 1984 saw Linda and Ed's divorce. Therefore, she could not have wed Barry in 1970. Even if the solution is obvious, the whole situation is surprising. There are conflicting claims made all over the internet, which is really perplexing. She may have remarried, according to some accounts, but others claim she was married to Barry. However, we will reveal all. 2 distinct Linda Grays exist. One of them is our queen and the other is married to Barry at the moment. Linda had multiple relationships, but her marriage to Ed Thrasher was the only one. A meeting between Dan Gordon and Linda Gray took place in 1996. Dan was a screenwriter in Hollywood, and they began dating soon after meeting and hit it off. Dan adored Linda and did everything he could to help her career succeed, including taking her on exotic vacations. Among them, Bali's beaches and the top culinary institutes in Italy and France. His assistance extended to her acting parts as well. For example, he rewrote nearly all of her lines for the Dallas character Sue Ellen Ewing. After 17 years of intense love and commitment, Linda ended their relationship amicably over the phone, leaving Dan devastated. Their relationship had been full of passion and exciting adventures. When Linda omitted any reference to him from her memoir, he felt deceived, which she detailed her private life in, without any mention of their committed connection. Considering how integral he had been to Linda's life and work, Dan felt both outraged and ashamed by her decision to leave him out. He believed Linda had been dishonest about their connection and had abruptly severed ties with him. Then why did this breakup happen? In her memoir, Linda discussed her late sexual awakening and her subsequent exploration of possibilities following her divorce from Ed. Supposedly, she had a string of affairs and encounters with younger Hollywood actors, and she used them all to satisfy her own desires. She certainly did not lead a happy ever after life. In her life, she had to confront numerous tragedies. The disease took her sister Betty in 1989. She learned the hard way how fragile life is via that devastating loss. The year 2020 saw the passing of even Linda's proudest son, Jeff Thrasher, a vibrant and imaginative young man. He died at the age of 56 after a protracted battle with leukemia. His passing was devastating. A glimmer of hope emerged from the solace offered by her grandkids among those challenging times. The point is that Linda was fully aware of her power, her platform, and her capacity to make a difference in the world. As a result, she decided to work harder and fight for what she believed in. She was a UN Goodwill Ambassador from 1997 to 2007, raising awareness for causes such as Alzheimer's research and Meals on Wheels. She went so far as to volunteer by bringing meals to elderly people. A smile spread across everyone's face at this kind act. "This nourishes my body and warms my heart," Linda says of how it benefited her. Linda has long championed the cause of women's emancipation. Even though she was unaware of it when she began to defy convention as an aspiring actress. Through reintegration centers, she assisted women in overcoming obstacles by giving them with housing, vocational training, and emotional support as she became older and wiser. For Gray, the key to a better society lay in the belief that the empowerment of a single woman could transform an entire community. Gray shattered gender and age norms in the arts. Particularly as she drew near middle age, a period when female performers were frequently overlooked. She dove headfirst into directing, a male-dominated profession at the time, and continued to thrive in a variety of roles. "Age does not reduce your skill," as Gray once stated. "You have a more profound comprehension of the stories you aspire to communicate." She has encouraged many women to follow in her footsteps and be strong in the face of adversity in the acting profession. At 84 years of age, what do you suppose Linda is up to these days? She maintains a low profile in Valencia, California, and relaxes at her ranch in Santa Clarita. She is attractive, active, and has an estimated net worth of $12 million. Her hard-won freedom is reflected in this sanctuary. She may have put the house on the market, but she will always hold fond memories of her time there in her search for a place that better suits her current needs. Linda finds delight in maintaining relationships within her community and performing errands. Wearing a silk blouse and leather trousers, she looked absolutely radiant at the 2024 Farrah Fawcett Foundation Tex-Mex Fiesta, where she most recently made an appearance. She keeps in touch with her 84-year-old fan base through social media, where she posts encouraging messages and photos from her day. Her genuineness and kindness motivate her legion of fans.